So, a creature for my amusement. Prepare for battle.
Alright guys, so this is my Colecovision. Um, I've owned this Colecovision for about 8 years, and with the Colecovision the power switch is renowned for being a bitch, so I did rebuild the power switch probably about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. Um, so if the power switch gets dirty and gungy inside, it doesn't turn. There's three different voltages: 5 volt, -12, and +12, and it switches all three voltages on. So if the power switch gets all gungy, it can cause graphics corruption on the screen. So like I said, I rebuilt that switch about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's been working away fine. I don't use it very often. So probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, well over a year anyway, I got the Colecovision out, and was playing it, and I turned it off to swap the game, and when I turned it back on again, I had graphics corruption on the screen, and I couldn't get it to clear, no matter what I did, turning it off and on again and taking the cart out and trying different carts, it still had the graphics corruption. So I assumed that I needed to rebuild the switch again. So a couple of weeks ago, I decided it's time to pull this thing apart. Um, the switch is actually soldered to the board, so you have to like desolder it to dismantle the switch, which is sort of what put me off doing it, because I knew there was quite a lot of work involved. So I got it out, pulled the switch apart, and it's gleaming inside it. There's not a speck of dirt in there. So I thought, what's going on? So I actually hardwired the switch. I soldered wires on the bottom of the board, so that the switch was permanently on, and it still had graphics corruption. So I had figured that something had died on it, some chip had died. So I actually sent this board to Dave at Tynemouth Software. He's the guy who fixed the motherboard in the pet for me. So sent it to Dave, and he found that one of the video RAM chips had died on it. On the ColecoVision, there's only two normal RAM chips. I think it only has 1 kilobyte of normal RAM. And then it has, it's a 32 kilobyte. I could be wrong here, but it has 8 video RAM chips. They're actually 4116 chips, the same as the Spectrum uses. So yeah, one of those had died. He swapped the chip out, and this thing's working perfectly. So let's just running River Raid on a loop there, just on the sort of demo mode. So I have been playing this. This has been switched on for over an hour now, and it's working perfectly. I've been going around and checking the heat, making sure that nothing's heating up too much. These RAM chips, apparently the ColecoVision is quite prone to blowing these chips. They do run quite hot. I wouldn't say they're warm. I can feel they're warm, but I wouldn't say they're hot by any means. So yeah, I'm pretty much ready to put this thing back together again here. So yeah, it had blown one of the video RAM chips. Yeah, if I remember right, I think it's 32 kilobytes. I'll put up an annotation if I'm wrong. 32 kilobytes of video RAM. So yeah, it popped one of those chips. So I was reading online, you can actually put, I think it's 4164 chips in. They're like a more updated RAM chip. They're compatible, but they only run on 5 volts, whereas these run on 5, -12 and +12. Uh, but I was asking Dave about that, and he said there's some differences between the NTSC and the PAL versions, and he said he would look into it more, but he said it could wind up costing you quite a few quid, because I would be wanting him to do the work. You know, I'm not confident enough to start putting chips out of things, and especially on a near 40-year-old circuit board, I'm not even touching it. Which is why I sent it to him in the first place. So it could wind up costing me quite a few quid, you know, just to stick uh, more more modern RAM into it, on the off chance that it'll prolong its life a bit. So yeah, that's about it really. Just testing this thing out here. I've actually got a AV kit for this, which I bought about, I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe more. So I bought this off eBay. It's a guy in Turkey, I think, sells these. I've actually bought a couple of kits off him for the Atari 2600. So I had bought this with the intentions of putting it into this, but I don't think I'm going to bother. Really, the RF signal on this thing is really strong. It's got a really nice RF signal, and I have plenty of TVs that, you know, take a good RF, especially that little LCD takes a good RF signal. And then I have my CRT there, which is perfect for RF. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother. To be honest, I need to snip a resistor off the board to install that, which sort of, it's not that I don't want to do it, it sort of makes it permanent. So yeah, I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's not like I don't have a TV that can't take RF. I don't really see the point of it, to be honest. I'm not going to be playing this on a 40-inch TV, really. Even saying that, my 40-inch TV has an RF in, and I've played things on it before via RF. So yeah, I don't see the need. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to put this back together and keep it original. So another thing was that I had planned on using that arcade stick that I showed a couple of videos back. I was going to use it primarily for the Colecovision, but it's just awkward. It depends what game. Each game selects the joysticks differently. Some you don't need the keypad, some you do need the keypad, some you can use player 2 keypad. So what I'm actually doing here at the minute, I have a Y cable here. So it's from a single pin or connector to a double connector. And I have one of the Colecovision joypads plugged in and a Mega Drive controller. And for the likes of River Raid, I can't start the game. It's asking me to press a key, but when I press a key, it won't select the game while the Mega Drive controller is plugged in. So you have to unplug the Mega Drive controller before the keypad works. So now that that's unplugged, I can start the game. And then I can plug the Mega Drive controller back in and actually control the game with it. So yeah, it's just bloody awkward. So what I've actually did is, or what I've actually done is, I wired up the arcade stick for the Amiga. So it now works as a 2 button controller for the Amiga. Really, that the Amiga has more arcade games that need 2 buttons. So I can still use it. With this, I can just plug it into this. Same idea as using the Mega Drive controller, but it'll only work as a single button. It doesn't seem to work with both fire buttons. So your guess is as good as mine. It's just a mind fuck trying to figure this out. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like this. I think. Um, Really, when I have this Y connector plugged in, I don't have a problem having to unplug and plug stuff in again. I just don't want to have to do it on the Colecovision itself, because these are the controller ports are soldered straight to the board. Constantly plugging in and out is going to add wear and tear to this motherboard itself and the ports. So I don't mind wearing out a Y cable basically, which seems like a better idea to me. So that's it for now. I'll stick this thing back together again. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Our battle is completed, warrior. You were a stimulating opponent.